Realize niggas in the streets realize
And we're live. Welcome to the third episode of Friendly Banter. Today we have a very special guest today with us, Jonathan Song. Please give him a warm round of
What's
applause.
up? How you doing?
Alright.
Yeah, where's dudes? Yeah, I'm just kidding. Thank you for having me.
No problem.
I'm
Pleasure
so
to have
honored
you.
to be your third guest, bro. I've
No
been
worries.
waiting since you asked me 3 weeks ago.
Was this 3 weeks ago?
Bro, it feels like 3 years ago, okay? I've been waiting for so long, man.
It's 2 weeks ago. It's 2 weeks ago. Right?
2 weeks ago? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it was... Dude, I've been watching all your podcasts. Except for the last one. Last one was a little too long, so I watched that on like 1.5 times speed. I don't know about you, man, but you kept talking about like the conscious mind, and it was really weird chant, so I just kind of skipped it.
No, you know what's hilarious? Both the videos have like around like 30-40 views. I think the first one has like 50 views.
Yeah.
But then, you know what the average viewing length is? Like how much the average person watches for?
How long?
3 minutes.
3 minutes, bro. That's like the average person's attention span.
And it's an hour and an hour 50 podcast, right?
Yeah.
And I know like 1 or 2 people who watched like the whole thing, right?
Okay.
So that means that like there's like 1 or 2 people that watch the whole thing, and the other 40 viewers just like tuned in for like 10 seconds and then exited.
It is what it is.
Right, that's what it is. All right, let's get started. So today we're talking about some video games, NBA, and yo, you need to get some tissues.
Yeah, I
bro.
live in the
You okay?
basement, man. It's tough out here, okay? You guys are complaining about the heat. I'm complaining that it's too cold, okay? I come in wearing the Canadian Goose. Like, I'm from the 6th, what can I say? Yeah,
you
go
live
on.
in Markham, stop.
Bro,
wait,
I'm a Toronto man, so we got the blood because waste youth.
Anyways, so our first topic is gonna be we're gonna talk about a little bit about video games. So yeah, as you know, today there's a lot of new games coming out. You know, there's stuff that big companies like Riot is coming out with, like Valorant and like all their other games, and there's like Overwatch and all these MMOs dominating the scene, but they're still releasing like new indie games and new standalone games. So what do you think is the future for like these kind of games? Do you think it will be dominated by like largely like MMOs, and like every single game requires a multiplayer version because of how
Bro, we're
social
just
our world
jumping
is?
right into it, eh?
Yeah, we are. Or do you
No
think it's
introductions? There's no how you doing? I respect that.
we can backtrack a little bit? Do you want to tell the world how you're doing?
Hey, let's take a break. I'm gonna get some water. I'll be right back. Water, right. No,
You're so dumb. Answer the question.
Yeah. I don't know, dude. I love MMOs, but I honestly don't see any future for them. They require so much time investment, and people just like you literally talking about how your average like view count is 3 minutes. Like imagine playing an MMO where developers expect you to play for like at least like 100 hours. Like there's no way people are gonna play that game. So MMOs unfortunately are out. I'd love to just invest my time into one, but yeah, people just don't play. I play Maple Story, bro. I've been playing Maple Story for so long.
Oh no, I don't mean specifically RPGs. I just mean like League accounts too. And like,
okay, yeah.
Like,
Hey man, I'm not done talking. I don't know why you're just like stopping me right there. Like I was
Okay.
answering one question, and now I'm gonna answer the next one. Yeah. What's the other question? I just completely forgot.
the other question is basically, do you see like in the future of like video games? Like, do you think it will be like people going back to playing more like single player games on like Steam and stuff, or do you think it would just be like every single game requires like a multiplayer option, or else like people just won't buy it because like they'll
No,
just play with their friends and stuff.
I think the single player games out are like doing fine.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason why people still make single player games, because like multiplayer games. Okay, it's actually, that's such a good question. I really like how your mind works. Like you just know the good questions to ask, eh? Yeah. Like I feel like with multiplayer games, like you can like on paper you would think people would get bored of it because it's always the same format. It's just a bunch of people either work to kill each other or work together to kill like AI. And on paper it gets really repetitive and boring, but in actuality people just eat that stuff up, man.
Yeah.
Like League of Legends is not dying anytime soon. League of Legends, dude, it's so crazy how many nerds play League of Legends. I'm not a nerd. I don't play a trash game, man. Trash. And then like just like the whole craze with battle royales, like, dude, people were talking about how Fortnite was gonna die like in like a year. People said that like 4 years ago, and it's like I don't play anymore. I used to be really big on Fortnite, but like it's nowhere close to dying. Like recently, if you didn't know, they got Travis Scott on to do like a live concert, and I think right now they're doing like this thing where they get like a bunch of artists to just like perform like maybe once a week or something, and like Fortnite is just not dying.
It's
So,
not
like that nah, bro, it's not even close. Like you can look at statistics and like the people, the people that play like Fortnite, I mean, their main demographic is like kids, but there's an unreal amount of kids that play. And then when you look at something like League of Legends, like the main demographic is like people our age, like high schoolers to like young college, and like maybe like a little bit after.
Yeah.
Like there's an age group game for like every genre, and yeah, like I think with single player games, even if it's not as popular, like there's always a demand for single player games.
Yeah, fair. As I was asking, maybe from like a funding perspective, right? Because let's say you sell a single player game, right? You have like 50 developers making this open world game, right? And you sell it for, I don't know, $60 a pop, right? And then if it doesn't do well, you know, you're super out of luck because it's a single player game, and like all the like purchasable aspects of it are all inside the game, if that makes sense. Like it's like if you build a like a League of Legends game, right? They make all their money from like selling you like RP, which is basically just like some kind of currency to buy like cosmetics or whatever, right? And then because it's a multiplayer game, right, they can sell you like all these different stuff. But for single player games, they can only sell you like in-game content, right? Does that make sense?
Bro, I gotta be so honest. I don't know if it's the ADHD, but I lost you like right after I stopped talking. Like you just kept going on, man. Like it was so hypnotic. Man. Like, I was a resident sleeper, bro. No, okay. What was your question? Like, can you summarize?
Do you think like single player games will still be like thriving because like the matter of fact is that like they just earn a lot less money than like really large scale like well advertised like multiplayer games. You know what I mean? Like if you try to make an indie game, like it's like you and like two other friends, and you got the money from Kickstarter or something. You know what I mean? Because there's just not enough support for that kind of thing. Like whereas like all the games you make nowadays, like Fortnite, Apex Legends, like all the battle royale or whatever, or anything that large companies make, right? There's a huge monetary incentive because not only can you sell the game, you can sell like cosmetics, and you can sell like battle passes, things like of that nature, right? And that's how you earn your money. But with single player indie games, you can't really do that. So do you think that will be a hindrance to them in the future?
Wagwan. Dude, I think they've been doing this for long enough that if it didn't work, they would stop doing it.
Yeah.
Like they would change it up. I don't know. Like I don't have any statistics, but like when you think of single player games, you think of you paid like $80 and you get the game. And when you think of like multiplayer, you think you pay like 20 or it's free and then you just like pay for like cosmetics and stuff.
Yeah.
And then there's always like I know the stats for like some games, like specifically mobile games, like when people like there's a term for people that spend a lot of money and it's called whales. And like the amount of money whales actually spend on like games that have those sort of like microtransactions is actually pretty unbelievable. Like you wouldn't expect people to be able to, you know, make that much money off of like 10 people that spend like 10K. But it's actually like I love talking with like my friends that play Maple. I go like, bro, like you're literally paying this Nexon employee's salary, like with how much money you're spending. Like yeah, I'm gonna call out my homie David Chen. Like this guy literally paid for like 10 people's wages every year with how much he spent on Maple Story. It's unreal. And it's like it's not just him. It's like there's like thousands of people, like at least like 20% of their player base spending like astronomical amounts of money.
Yeah. I mean,
but I honestly feel like if single player games that don't have microtransactions didn't work, like it would have stopped, because these kind of like single player games where you just buy it and then you're done have been like out for like 20 years. Like it's definitely feasible.
It's definitely feasible. It's like I think maybe the observation I'm making is kind of related to films and how there's been like a slow deterioration of like standalone films. Like of course there's always gonna be like ones that are really, really brilliant. But over time, in general, like the average standalone film is like really, really garbage. Stop.
What? Why you just bro? Keep going.
Dude, you're gonna get my show canceled for sexual harassment.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah, and like this the good films are like all the ones with like really insane budgets and like huge franchise behind it, right? But even those can like suck a lot. And like there's very, very rare that there's like a very good standalone film, right? Because all the money is just pumped into like the Marvel films and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's gonna happen to like single playthrough or single player like games that don't have massive amount of microtransactions supporting it.
Yeah, I mean,
it is what it is.
Took the words out of my mouth. Waste good.
Stop. Okay. Yeah, so kind of building onto that, right? So because the big games have so many like microtransactions supporting it, and there's also I guess like a blossoming like esports side to all the big games, right? Do you think the esports side has a bubble, you say, or do you think like this is just in its like nascency and like esports will grow to be even larger than what it is now?
What do you mean by bubble?
Bubble as in like there's just a lot of
or... Huh? sorry
like as in like as in a lot of investors, right? They pumped a lot of money into the sport, but the sport doesn't actually make enough money to sustain itself, and basically there's a lot of hype, but there really isn't anything solid to keep it going. It's like what happened with, or what is happening to the Overwatch League, right? Because it got started with like huge amounts of investments. Like they built all the stadiums, they had all the geolocations and whatever, and now like Overwatch is like dying, you know?
Yeah.
And those investors are not gonna get their money back.
I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't see League of Legends dying anytime soon.
Yeah.
Like the way, like Honestly, I think these days when people say esports, they just think of League of Legends, like, and maybe Fortnite.
No, I mean
Fortnite has been so big. Okay, I just sound like a huge Fortnite fanboy, bro. Like, let's play some duels.
Is Fortnite that big?
It's okay, bro. You're trying to trigger some fanboys out here, but Fortnite is actually like I don't know if I would say it's bigger than League of Legends, but just
okay. Is it bigger than CS:GO?
I don't know how big CS:GO is, but I would argue it is.
Okay.
But then obviously that's me saying I don't know how big CS:GO is.
True. Okay.
But like I can put some things into perspective. Like I'm pretty sure Epic Games, which is the company that made Fortnite, they put in, I think, I need to think exact numbers. I don't want to say anything false. How much money did Epic Games put into competitive Fortnite? Yeah, okay, so Google just doesn't want to answer my question. Okay, yeah, they put in $100 million in their first prize pool, like for the first tournament. Like they put in $100 million into just like all Fortnite competitions.
Mm-hmm.
Like what Fortnite has right now. Like if you don't know, they had like the whole World Cup, and the winner won $3 million, then 1.8, and then like it was 50K for. If you don't know, okay, Fortnite is 100 players, so the top 3, I think, each made 3 mil, 1.8 mil, 1.2 mil in that order. And then I don't know how it was divvied up, but the bottom 50 players won 50K. Like that was like if you made it to the top 100, you just got 50K minimum. Like 50K is a lot of money, especially in like esports.
Yeah.
Especially for like top 50, bottom 50 players that make it to the World Cup. And it doesn't like even end there. Like they had several, tournaments before that with like huge prize pools. And even right now, I'm pretty sure it's still going on, and it's been going on for a couple of months. They have this thing called the Cash Cup, and this is like every week. And this is like anyone can enter as long as they're good enough. Like I could literally compete for the Cash Cup. It's like in League of Legends, you have the ranking system. You have Iron to Challenger, and like you don't win anything. It's just for like to see how good you are or to like have bragging rights.
Yeah.
In Fortnite, you have ranks, and there's 3 ranks. I don't remember the exact names, but it's like the first rank is like casual, and then the second rank is like competitive, and then the final rank is like the Cash Cup rank. Basically, if you're in the final rank, you can compete in these Cash Cups every week for 50K. So there are literally kids that make a living off of Fortnite just because they're really good at it. And this happens every week. Like the amount of money that is being put into Fortnite. And it's not even like official tournaments. Like this is literally just their in-game system for you to win like huge amounts of money if you're good enough.
Yeah.
That's just Fortnite.
Yeah, it does seem like Epic Games is like burning insane amount of cash, right? Like they're releasing like a free game every single week. They're trying to buy up all the they're trying to buy up all the like licensing rights to distribute all the what do you call them? Like the large titles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like they bought all of Assassin's Creed, Civ, Borderlands, right?
GTA 5.
GTA 5. Yeah. It's pretty insane. How do they have so much money, dude?
Bro, it's so crazy. I just don't understand. Like, dude, dude, sometimes I'm just like thinking, like, where did these people get all this money? Like, the government put in like $3 billion into like a grant for students just to get if they tried to find a job. Where's that $3 billion coming from, man? Like, I don't want to pay this tax money in the future. Like, what? Why where are you getting $3 billion? It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
But people just have money. Organizations, they just have money. I feel like back on track, like I don't think League of Legends or Fortnite will die anytime soon. I think League of Legends will outlast Fortnite. But I don't know about other games.
What do you think
like,
Valorant stacks up?
Dude, I think I'm a huge fan of Valorant. I love Valorant. I suck. I'm like
You're not bad.
you're okay, Ginny. Okay, first of all, I have a bone to pick with you. First of all, you're better than me at Valorant. Okay, you're always complaining. I get 3 kills in the first round, and you're like, "Sheesh, Jonathan, yo, top frag, bro. Thanks for the carry." And then I die 7 times in a row by getting a kill, and then at the end of the game, you're top frag. Okay, like, can you not, please, brother?
No.
It hurts. It hurts when you bring me up like that, and then at the end of the game, I'm bottom frag. Please, that's just disrespectful. Okay, but yeah, I'm a huge fanboy of Valorant, but I feel like it's being overhyped. And that's fine. I think it's good publicity. And I don't know how the competitive scene is going to work out. I would hope that it works out. Assuming that I feel like if a CSGO was really good in the competitive scene, which I think it is. I know very, very vaguely about the competitive scene of CSGO.
It's pretty thriving,
Yeah. It's definitely thriving, or was at least thriving. But I feel like Valorant also has the potential to be as good or better. But it's hard to say, man. Like, dude, I think you enlightened me last week when we just talked a little. Like, it's all about the views, man. Like, if it gets views, then it'll be good. And I think on Twitch right now, Valorant gets views.
Yeah, I think kind of. So basically, for the audience, basically last week we're talking about like that. I think that like Twitch streams or like competitive scenes bring a lot to these type of video games because they present like the top level of the gameplay, but also they give like your average player or consumer like something to emulate or imitate in their own games. And I think that's where like Overwatch kind of really took a downfall because like when you watch that, like it was all just a huge like super fast paced coordinated like ensemble, I guess. And it's like really almost impossible to imitate because the games just go so fast, and the amount of like, and it's the amount of just like camera angles and just amount of actions that were happening inside each like inside each view of the game was just too much. Like you can't just go in and try to be a pro. But in other games like in League or even in Valorant or CSGO, which are slower but also a lot more methodical, you can like often just copy like the strategies you see from like top level people or try to do stuff that they do. And I think that's a huge part of like video games today. And um, like you hate to say it, but like content creators and these type of people do a huge part in these games. And if you have like a huge content creator on your side, like that's represents your brand or represents your game, and they're huge, like it actually does astronomical things for your game, right? Yeah.
Log one.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Overwatch is just too crazy, bro. Overwatch is a team deathmatch and pushing a payload all at the same time, and it's 6 players versus 6 players.
Yeah.
Like, and it's first person view too. Like, just imagine, like, try to imagine that. Like, with CS:GO, it's first person, but it's so slow that you can keep switching between first person and it's fine. But then Overwatch is first person, fast paced team deathmatch, pushing a payload, strategy, combining abilities together, teamwork, all at the same time. And it's so fast and cartoony and the abilities are so flashy. Like
Yeah.
when you look at it from a spectator point of view, like you don't understand. You don't know what's happening. The commentators don't know what's happening. They're just yelling out names really fast, hoping that you don't really listen to what they're saying. Like, no one knows what's happening.
I remember,
like it's just go on.
I remember early on when I saw like Genji highlights, I thought it was so funny because dude, even he doesn't even look at the enemies. He's just looking at the ground and just slashing because it has the highest
Bro, man,
hitbox.
like dude, there's literally a character with a hammer and he just swings the hammer. Like, no, it's bro, come on. Like,
Yeah.
no, you're just swinging a hammer.
Yeah, and yeah, I think basically like there's a term called backseat gaming, which is basically as like a spectator, like when you're watching, like you can feel like as if you're playing the game too, like you're thinking like, oh, you should do this, you should do this, you should do that, blah blah blah, right? You know, Overwatch you can't do that, but in like other games when it's slower, like especially if you have like some kind of spectator advantage, like let's say you're playing Valorant, you can see where the enemies are even though you're in first person, right? And then you have like anticipation, be like, oh my god, he's gonna peek the corner and just kill you, like because you know the player doesn't know, right? But there's a lot of things that you know and you're thinking about, and it provides a lot of I don't know content to backseat game with that you just don't get with other stuff.
I love backseat gaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love when my friends hate backseat gaming because then it's so funny when I'm yo right there, bro, right there, shoot him, and then they're like, oh. And then they just choke and die, and then they're like, bro, stop backseat gaming, please, man.
Yeah.
Stop.
I also think that's why sports are really successful too, because it's so simple, like the objective, or like and the rules, in its like most basic form. That it's super easy to like backseat sport, you know? Like actually, like when you're watching like I don't know, like basketball or like soccer or something, like oh my god, dude, why did you shoot there? Or like oh my god, dude, what a shot!
This is some like professional level transition, man. Like I know. Okay, yeah, go on. I know what you're trying to do, bro. You think I don't know what the next question is? Okay, keep going. Do your thing, bro. You were saying?
Anyways, I was saying that basically. Oh wait, sorry, my Windows popped down. Basically,
Yes.
I'm saying that sports like basketball are really easy for the viewer to get engaged in, right? And I think that that is what Able did. Stop. Wait. That is what enabled it to achieve its popularity today, because it's really easy to tell, like, oh my god, he shot the ball in, like, clap, clap, clap. He didn't shoot the ball in. Like, aw, sucks, you know?
Yes, I'm in complete agreement.
Thanks. Anyways, so speaking of the NBA, it's currently...
Pop champ! Pop champ!
Speaking of the NBA, it's currently in suspension right now, but there's talks of bringing it back in July. Have you heard the news?
Yeah, I was listening to 680 News. Shout out to the homies 680 News. Waiting for your sponsor. But yeah, they were talking about how like they want to send, I think, the top 8 teams of each conference into playing, I think, 8 games, and then that would determine the placements for the playoffs. And I think the like, although like you know the high ups, the big boys, like not the players, they voted already and it passed, and now they're waiting for like players to vote if they want to do this system.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it'll go through. Like everyone wants the NBA to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you heard where they're doing it?
Florida.
Yeah. So they're hosting everything at Disney World.
Yeah, I heard that one.
Yeah,
Disney World. Shout out to the homie. Walt Disney. I'm waiting for your sponsor too. Get back to my calls. Thanks.
Yeah, so for the audience, basically, the NBA was suspended due to COVID.
Did you get that joke? I'm waiting for his call. It's because Walt Disney's dead. That's why I'm still waiting, bro. Come on, man. That's a whoosh. you know what I mean? Your mom, me, the joke. Whoosh. I go on.
For the audience.
My bad.
For the audience, the NBA has been suspended due to COVID-19, but there's talks of recommencing the NBA, and then since COVID is still going around, they'll have all the teams and players, all the coaches, basically all the staff, fly to Walt Disney World in Florida. They'll have them fly to Walt Disney World, and they're all living like the hotels, and then they will all play the games in like the ESPN centers where they have like the basketball courts and everything, and they'll just host everything there. And basically, like before every single game and like all the training, they'll like extensively check the players to make sure they don't have COVID, or else like somebody has COVID and they're on the basketball court, probably everybody else will have COVID.
Everybody gonna get it.
Yeah, everybody gonna get it.
Everybody gonna get it.
So there's those talks. So, Jonathan, you seem pretty confident that it will happen.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen?
If it doesn't happen, bro, I'll buy you chicken when quarantine's over.
Sure. Sounds
I'll
good.
buy you a Jelta chicken. For the audience that doesn't know what a Jelta chicken is.
No, we don't have
Let me
to.
bring you back. No. Just please, man. Please, man. Let me tell my story. Please.
Sure.
Dude, in grade 10, I had a junior chicken, and Ginny asked me for a bite. And I said, sure, homie. His bite was more than half the burger. Like, bruh, you asked for a bite. You didn't ask for half the burger. Please. We just call it a Jelta chicken. That's it. Just wanted to say my part. Bro, I've been thinking about that for a long time. Like, I'm still hurt. You didn't just bite the junior chicken. You bit a part of me. And I'll never get that part back.
Anyways, so in terms of the return of the 2020 season of the NBA, do you think there will be any maybe deterioration of like the value of the championship because of the circumstances that like we're in? People will just write it off as like, oh yeah, that season was just a bust. Like everybody like didn't play for like 6 months. Like this team just won because like they COVID managed better or something.
Excuse me. Hope you didn't hear that. What you just said, they won because they COVID managed better. Like I don't think people realize like how impressive that is. Like the players can't meet up with each other. And I know some big players aren't even playing basketball. Like I think like last month I heard an interview with Jason Tatum. He's like the go-to player right now on the Boston Celtics. Like he said he has literally not touched the basketball in all of quarantine. Giannis, I'm pretty sure, has also said he has not touched the basketball in all of quarantine. Yes, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Wait, I thought
Giannis Antetokounmpo. Antetokounmpo. Do you need me to spell it for you? A-N-T Antetokounmpo. Giannis. Like they have not touched the basketball.
Actually, try to spell it.
Antetokounmpo. Antetokounmpo.
I actually don't even know if I could. I don't even know the name.
English is my fourth language, but I speak it. I think I don't know how to
Greek.
spell English. Okay, yeah, but like there are big players that literally said they haven't touched a basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And then if these teams like actually come out and win a championship, like, bro, like that's hella impressive.
Yeah.
Like you can't. Basketball is a team sport. At the end of the day, like there aren't. Like you can say there are teams where there's only one player, but those teams don't win championships.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. And then if you're coming out and saying that, wow, all these players can't play with each other in practice and they won during quarantine, that's so lame. Like, no, that's so impressive. Like in a team game when you can't play as a team and then you come out, play as a team after 3 months and you win, like that's impressive.
Okay. So do you think...
I think you also asked if it lowers how like I guess grand a championship is, like does it devalue it?
Yeah.
It's hard to say. Like I feel like it's still a championship at the end of the day. Like they're having like intensive like practices. They're gonna have like huge practices, and they're having those like 8 games. I'm not saying that 8 games is enough for you to get back in your prime, because there's like momentum, and players are just hot on some days, and then when quarantine happens and you can't, like, you lose that flame, like, yeah, obviously you're not going to be as good. And then sometimes there are players that will perform even better because there's like they get like this new hope that they can actually win while other players haven't gotten enough practice. Like, there's all these different factors. I think if you're so hung up on the championship not being as valuable as what it was, then I don't know. It is what it is. I think everyone's going to be excited to watch the playoffs regardless. You could say that it's not as valuable, but you'll still be, if you like the NBA, you'll still be hella excited to watch.
Yeah.
Like I've only recently gotten into the NBA, and I have been like just dying to watch for so long. I've just been watching like all the previous games, and I'm like, yo, like, please let me watch some new games, please.
So do you think the level of competition will just be will it be any worse than other years?
I don't think it'll be worse enough for people to actually notice. I'm sure players will notice a lot more than we would.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they'll probably say in post-game interviews, like, oh man, like, I wasn't, my shot wasn't hot. But then we'll just look at stats, and then we'll go like, they look relatively in check.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really hard for us to notice, unless of course there are some players that are like actually just total waste suits, man. Like, but I wouldn't think that. I would hope that professional NBA players will be back on their prime in due time.
Fair. Yeah. So who do you think is gonna be the face of the league in a few years?
Okay, how long is a few years? Because dude, there's so many hot players right now.
All right.
Hot as in like skill, not like handsome. I mean, there are some handsome lads, but that's for another day.
Okay. 3, 5, and 7.
That's for the edition, eh? Yeah, go on.
3, 5, and 7.
3, 5, and 7. Years, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, days.
Days?
I want June 13th, June 15th, and June 17th.
Okay.
Okay.
I think. My bad. I whoosh. I think in like 3 years, they'll be honest. Assuming LeBron, assuming LeBron is the face right now, which I think he is.
Yeah, he is.
If he retires within the next 3 years, I think it'll be Giannis. Giannis is such a powerhouse, man. And Giannis is like I feel like the faces of the NBA are always like freaks of nature. LeBron's a freak of nature, and Giannis is a freak of nature, or is like the next closest thing to a freak of nature. And so yeah, if LeBron retires, I think it'll be Giannis. In 5 years, 5 years is too little. I'll just go straight up to 7. I think in 7 years, if Giannis is like, how old is he? Is he like 25?
He's
26?
young. He's like, how old is Giannis? And
25. He's 25.
Yeah.
That's the homie, man. 1994. Hey, Pop Champ, if you're 90s kid, eh? I'm a 90s kid.
Nice. Congratulations.
Yeah, he's 25. So in 7 years, he'll be 32. He'll probably still be in the league. Like, he's super athletic, unless an injury happens.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he'll definitely not be in his prime when he's 32. Assuming he isn't the face of the NBA still, I think it'll be someone like Luka Doncic, or Zion Williams. If Zion Williams can stay healthy, in 5 years he could be the face of the NBA.
Zion is really good.
He's a rookie. He missed like more than half the season, and he's averaging like 20, 25 points. He's averaging more than 20 points, man. Like he's actually it's actually crazy.
he is really good.
The Pelicans are also like really solid. Like a lot of young players built around a superstar in the making of Zion. Like I think the Pelicans are meant for success. I don't know about championships, but if Zion stays healthy and keeps growing, then he'll be the face. Yeah. And honestly, in popularity, he's already like kind of in a way the face because everyone loves Zion Williamson.
Yeah,
he's so crazy, man.
Yes.
Sometimes I just read his stats and it's like, what? Like how, man? It's like 280 pounds, 40-inch vert.
Yeah.
It's like 6'3". Like it's actually he's 19 years old, bro. Like when I was 19, I was like 5'2", like 110 pounds. Like, huh? What? Dude, I hate being Chinese, man. I wish I could be a brother.
Okay, I'm cutting that out. What, edit it?
I kid. And yeah, in 7 years, I think Luka Doncic right now is he's so clean and he's so professional for being so young. He's also like 21 years old, man, and like the stuff he's doing on the Mavericks. Sorry, not the Mavericks.
The Dallas
on the Mavs,
Mavericks.
On the Davs. I call them the Davs for D for Dallas, and then Avs for Avrix in Mavericks. You know, Davs. If you're close to my man Mark Cuban, we're on like first name term. So like my guy Mark, then you can call him the Davs. Yeah, I think Luka Doncic is.
I don't think anyone calls him Cuban.
In some time in the future, I think there will be a point where he's the face of the NBA. He's just too good to not be.
True.
Especially when he's so young.
Yeah.
I'm also just a fanboy. All right, next question. Jin Yi, who do you think is going to be the face of the NBA in the future?
Pretty in agreement with what you said. I think I pretty much agree with everything you said.
Okay, I respect that. I
think in terms of skill, definitely in 3 years, you can still make a case for, I don't know, Kawhi Leonard.
Respect.
And
Forgot about that.
Kawhi will never have the star power. Like he's just too quiet, you know. Like you'll never.
That's true.
Yeah. I think to be the face of the league, you do have to have a little bit of a showmanship.
Yeah.
I think Giannis has it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know if Giannis has it. Giannis is like a Mamba mentality. He's in it to win it.
No,
I think
but
LeBron is very like.
But Giannis, like, when he like does like some of his like dunks and then he like screams like Eren Yeager in episode like 13 of like Attack on Titan, like.
Can I reference that episode 13? Let me
I'm kidding.
Fact check that. Yeah, keep going.
You know what I mean, though, right?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why Zion works so well too. Like Zion is like, I don't want to like stereotypicalize all 19-year-old guys, but dude, when you're 19 and you're a guy, you just get so hyped when something crazy happens, man. Like, and if he's the one doing the dunks on like LeBron James, he's like everyone's gonna go crazy, man. Like, and everyone loves like hype.
True.
Zion, man. Honestly, bro, Zion's gonna be the face of the league in 3 years. Screw Giannis, bro. That's an old man. Okay, we're talking about the young face. Okay,
like about 28-year-old.
Like, I take it back. I think Zion's gonna be the face of the league in 3 years.
Okay,
for a
that's
long
a hot
time.
take.
For a long time.
Okay.
That's the hot take, bro. That's the hot take. You know me. Hot takes all the time. What's your hot take, huh? What's your hot take on the conscious mind?
tune in for the last episode to get
check it out,
that
guys.
hot
Check
take.
it out.
Check it out. Check
Hey
it out.
guys, just real quick break. We got a couple of sponsors and ads we gotta get through. Thank you, Friendly Banter, for sponsoring this week's episode of Friendly Banter. Just check them out on YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment what you think. If you guys want other guests, comment them down below. We'll try to reach out to them. Check out episodes 1 and 2. Jasmine Lai, David Chen, Henry Lee. They've already been on here. Great people. You love to hear them. You love to see them. You guys gotta check out my man Janine Liu, Jelto Laws, Soup Man, Jelto Chicken. Who do you know him as? It doesn't matter who you know him as. He's the same person. Soup Man, Jelto Laws, Janine Liu. They're all the same people. Check him out. He's doing some great work on Friendly Banter. And then we're also sponsored by Jameson Vitamin C pellets.
Yo, don't say that.
I can't go a day without, chucking down 2 or 3 of them, popping them in. Pop a molly, you know what they say. It's good for you. It's vitamin C. I don't eat fruit. It's a hot take. I don't eat fruit, man. It's a hot take. But I eat Jameson Vitamin C tablets. As an adult, you can take 1 to 4 a day. Sometimes if you're only 9 to 13, you're only supposed to take 1 to 2. If you're a child and you're only 4 to 8, you only take 1. I mean, you take 1 pellet a day, bro. This is gonna last you like a couple of years. Okay, well, we might be talking a couple millenniums. Like, I don't know, Jameson. You guys are doing great work. Thanks. And our final sponsor is Natural Spring Water. You guys doing great. Great work. Love your water. Tastes like every other water I drink, but I mean, it's the one my dad bought from Costco. So, you know what? You'll be the sponsor today. They keep the water fresh per bottle, 0 calories, 0 fat, 0 carbohydrates, 0 protein. But it is what it is. It's water. It's got nothing, but it's good for you. I heard somewhere our body's made up of like 90% water. So drink some from Natural Spring. The French variation. Bonjour, aujourd'hui, on sponsor du eau de source naturelle. Il y a 0 calories, 0 lipids, 0 glucides, et ça c'est 0 protéines. C'est low. c'est low.
Okay.
Il n'y en a pas beaucoup de choses parce que c'est low. C'est eau de source naturelle. Merci beaucoup. And that's all our sponsors. We're back, guys. We're back. We're live. Friendly Banter, episode 3, part 2, second half.
Thank you, Jonathan, for our announcements. Just as a disclaimer, we are not sponsored by Jameson or Water Natural, but we are sponsored by Friendly Banter. And he does not pop Molly. Just as a disclaimer.
I said it's Jameson. Jameson Vitamin C. I like to say pop Molly. It's good for you.
You know what Molly
don't
is?
Pop Molly. Don't pop actual Mollies. Just pop a vitamin C and say it's a Molly. Okay? It's the same thing. Gets the job done.
Thank you. So coming back from our intermission, we'll be talking about the education system. So Jonathan, you know the education system quite well. You spent the last
don't get me started, bro.
15 of your is it 15?
Okay.
Oh, 16.
First of all, 12 plus 4 is 16, my friend. I think you might need to spend a couple more years in the education system. Calling you out for addition mistake. Look at me, smart guy.
You spent the last 16 years in the educational system. So do you think that there's is to preface this question, so there are schools of thought that think schools of thought, I get it, because talking about education. There's schools of thought that think that there's a trade-off between testing and basically evaluating your skills or whatever, and having a distribution of the student population with grades. And there's a trade-off between doing that and spending your resources having a fair assessment and actually like learning things, right?
What?
So like, okay, so basically, okay, I'll say it another way. So there's people that think that schools, instead of teaching for mastery, or basically, let's say you try to learn how to drive a car, right?
Yeah.
Right. You, what you call it, you have to do everything right for you to get your license and for you to drive, right?
Yeah.
Right? And if you do something wrong, you have to practice it until you get it right. And only when you do everything right and like or like you meet the requirements, then do you get to drive, right?
Yeah.
And however, in like the school system, right? What happens is that the curriculum is, let's say you're in math class, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're in math, and you learn a unit, you take a unit test. Doesn't matter if you pass or fail the unit test, you move on to the next thing, right?
Okay.
Right? You so you don't actually reassess like what you didn't learn, right? Even if you fail a test, you're like, let's say you fail geometry, right? Like triangles, whoopie doo, like
Bro, triangles are crazy,
triangles
man.
are
3
crazy.
sides. Sheesh. Yeah, go on.
Let's say you don't understand them, yeah, whatever. You move on to polynomials or something, right?
Oh my goodness, I don't even know what a polynomial. Bro. Okay, yeah, go on.
And then next year, you do geometry again, and because you didn't pass geometry last year, you don't understand any of the new geometry, right? Like this year we're gonna learn about squares. Like, man, I didn't even know what a triangle was. You know?
Bro, you're using too many big names, okay? You just slow down.
Do you get what I mean, though?
Yeah, I know what you mean now.
Yeah.
And then the question is, what are my thoughts on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we don't live in a perfect world. We don't have a perfect education system. I think we just do what has shown to work for the most part, and then no one has bothered to change it or to challenge it. There's probably been people who have tried to challenge it, but I'm glad that you asked this question because I've always like had a hot take, like a hot take on
Yeah.
the education system. Because
Sure. Hit me with it.
it's probably not even hot. I'm sure there's a lot of people that reciprocate what I feel about it. And just like what you're saying, like I feel like, yeah, like number one, like what you said, I totally agree. Like it, oh, actually, you didn't actually say what you thought, but like I totally think that the idea where you just keep moving on and you just like as long as you pass like everything in general, it's okay. Like that's not how people learn. Maybe it is for some people, but like the idea, I think it's problematic in a more general sense that you're put into a curriculum based on your age, not on where you're at mentally or like where you actually like can process and understand. So instead of like we're learning things, okay, you're gaining knowledge, but you're not put in a classroom based on your knowledge. You're put in a classroom based on your age, and I think that just doesn't make sense. Like I feel like in an ideal world, you move up when you're ready to move up. You're placed in a classroom that fits where you should be at. So like let's say you don't understand squares but you understand triangles. You're going to be put in that classroom that's learning on triangles. You're not going to be put in the classroom of trapezoids because you're 7 years old. Like you're 7 but you don't know what the trapezoid is. You don't even know what the square is. So you should be in the what do you call it? You should be in the triangle section. But like I can also see like problems arising because obviously, if a 7-year-old's in a class of a 3-year-old, he's gonna go like, sometimes they'll feel bad about themselves, and then sometimes they'll complain, and some, like those kind of problems arise. But like at the end of the day, that's like the ideal education system that I believe in, and I'm not like it's ideal because I don't think it'll happen.
Yeah.
And because there's obviously problems in and of itself that we don't know because we've never tried it.
Yeah.
But you
I
know,
mean,
it
we
like
kind of have tried it, right?
mhm,
Because let's say you're learning how to play piano, right?
mhm.
You don't play, I don't know, level 5 piano because you've played piano for 5 years. You play it
Yeah,
because that's level you're at, right? It'd be ridiculous if like you can
yeah.
only you can only do whatever level of piano like based
Based
on
off your
your
age.
yeah, based off your age, right?
You're 32 years old and you want to learn piano? All right, we gotta start off with some Beethoven. Like, no, put me on the like put me on that, man. Like, yeah. I mean, I think for people that are really big sticklers and are like, yo, you guys are just dumb people. Like, it's not a perfect example because it's not the same, but it gets the same idea across. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. I feel like there's definitely flaws. And
Yeah.
okay, I always try to think of things from the other guy's perspective. I watch the Joker. You know, I'm thinking about guys like the Joker. Okay, I'm not Bruce Wayne. I'm thinking about everyone. Okay, but like I was kind of like in the middle. Like I like in grade in grade 11, I almost failed math, bro. Like I got like a 53 halfway through the semester, and I'm like, oh shoot, I gotta study. So I studied and I pulled it up. Only got a 70. It is what it is. You know, we take those. And then in grade 12, you know, I was like, okay, it's time for university. So I really studied my butt off. I got like a 93 in calculus, and I was like, okay, we chilling, we chilling.
You're
Like,
chilling.
but like, you know, I've experienced like both the failing side and also the, I guess, kind of the winning side. I'm not bragging that I got 93, but you know, obviously, if you are used to getting high grades, you can say, you know, if you just try and work hard enough, you should be able to get high grades as well. People who get 50s don't try hard enough. And there's obviously, yes, there's people that don't try hard enough, but then there's also people who are just don't comprehend. They just don't understand at that level yet. And they're just not ready to understand at that level yet because they didn't have that foundation laid out, and like they don't have that solid foundation before to understand that level of math. Like they have to go back and like learn grade 10 again. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that's where they're at, and I feel like that's what the education system doesn't allow for. Because if you just know enough, if you just get 50%, you're good, and you keep going. Which I mean, you know, in university we take those. I'm aiming for like 55s, bro. Like that's it is what it is, man. I don't study. I studied the night before for final. I studied the night before her finals, bro. Like, and then like when I actually need a good grade, you know, I'll just go to classes. And I go to classes, and we get like a 90. Like we take those, man. But yeah, I think the education system is flawed.
Yeah.
Very much so.
I think
Don't even get me. Oh, don't even get me started about university too, bro.
What's wrong with university?
Okay, man. Like university is the biggest waste of money in my life. Okay, like okay. The way the world is set up is that you need a degree to. I put asterisks around the degree, around the need. You need a degree to find a job. That's like the bare minimum. And to get a degree, you have to go through 4 to 6 years of university. And those 4 to 6 years of university are built to encourage people to go into what's it called? Into studying. I forgot. Oh man, I forgot what it's called. Sorry, small brain. Okay, well, basically, like, I'm in mechanical engineering. For those that don't know, I'm in my last year. Like, I'm learning like some of the stuff I learned, bro. Like you don't use that stuff anymore. Like we don't. I don't use calculus. I use addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. That's what I use in like I've had work experience. That's what we use. I talked to like my brother-in-law. He's been a mechanical engineer. He's been working at like a private company for like 6 years. He uses addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. In terms of theory, I took one out of maybe 30 something courses on that theory. And my courses, I guess, is a bit special because you specialize in different things. So obviously you have to learn about, a lot of different things. But I also think that's flawed because I know at other schools, you can just go right into what you want to specialize, which is also flawed because, sometimes you don't know what you want to specialize. But long story short, I'm paying like 10K for courses that have like almost no relevance. And that's because they want to teach us on like the history of engineering. They want us to like know all the theory of engineering that is available, which they know 90% of people aren't going to use. But to appeal to the 10% that they want people to go into that field and to like, further study and advance technology and engineering in that field, for that 10%, they're hoping those people will appreciate everything they learn. And they don't care about the 90% that just want, a regular salary job at, a pretty regular engineering company that will never use any of the things they learn again. Because when you get to the workplace, that's where you learn what you're supposed to do. And obviously, you can say, oh, but, people want to strive and achieve more than just a salary job. They want to, reach for higher bounds. That's good for them. That's a 5% of a population.
Mm-hmm.
The university is a money sucker. They just want your money. And no one has bothered to challenge that. People probably have challenged it, but it has not come to fruition. And I just think it's the biggest scam and waste of money.
Yeah, so one interesting theory about that is that that's not as much of a fault of the universities as it is the companies that require you for it, right? So universities were first established as institutions that were pursuing knowledge, right? So it's perfectly valid that that the stuff you learn are mostly non-applicable stuff, right? Theory, history, stuff like that, because that's knowledge, right? The pursuit of knowledge, right? Knowledge. Anyways, knowledge. And so universities are not equipped, or they're not meant to be training camps for your vocational future, right? They're institutions to like discuss theory and like look into history and try to further human knowledge, basically, right? But what has happened is that most companies are terrible at hiring, right? And so they rely on proxies in order to gauge your fit to the company, right? And so one of the main proxies they rely on is a university degree, right? They say, hey, if this guy can show that he can finish university, that means that he also has the competency to do the job, right? Because because the company is not allowed to, or it's not allowed. It's terribly costly for them to hire you, test you out, and like if you're good, then they hire you. If you're not good, then they don't hire you, right? That's a very costly process, right? So instead, they rely on proxies, and one of these proxies is a university degree. It just turns out, even though you're wasting all this money, you're wasting all this money doing this stuff, going to university and learning all these, I don't know, useless courses or whatever. That acts as a less costly option for the greater society, I guess. But also, like, I do think people have come around to the fact that a lot of universities are just money grubbers, or at least the undergraduate system are money grubbers, because graduate has a whole host of different problems. But so a lot of a lot of companies rely on not your degree anymore, but rather like internships and co-ops and things like that, right? Because those give you actual applicable knowledge, right? It just that doesn't abolish the fact that you still have to go to school, right? And I think it's kind of weird because I feel like, man, I feel like especially if things don't get changed, I feel like maybe like the next generation or even the next generation, I feel like each generation just has to do so much more things to act as proxies for like, hey, I can be successful. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like a generation ago, like nobody had to like do 3 extracurriculars, like do like 5 different internships, have like 2 years of work experience, and get all A's in college in order to like get an entry level position, right? But I feel like these days that's becoming more and more prevalent. And I feel like in tomorrow's generation, it seems even more like insane. Like I see like middle school students having like LinkedIn and stuff. It's like, bro, like that's
I got
LinkedIn.
I'm a part-time worker at Laws. Got my work experience.
Yeah, but it's like things like that. Like I just feel like, man, there's a lot of competition from like globalization and things like that, and also from like automation and things. It's just that, dude, it just seems so like I don't know what's the word. It just seems like such a hassle for younger kids.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying, man. Like it irks me because I'm thinking, okay, I'm an uncle. My sister has 2 daughters, and I love them dearly, and they always come play, and it's so fun. They're so cute, and it really irks me like to think that in their future they might need like right now for an engineer to be a professional engineer, you need to, after you get your undergrad, you need I think about 2 years of work experience after your undergrad, and then you also need to pass like a law and like a couple of law tests, and that's how you become a professional engineer. So you can do stuff under your name. And I'm just thinking like, wow, what if in the future that's not even like the requirement for professional engineering? That's just the requirement to be an engineer. You need like what you're saying, like you need 2 years of work experience. You need a certain GPA in university of your undergrad. Like it's not even just a degree anymore. You need a certain GPA. I'm just thinking like it's just getting harder and harder to live in the future. And that's really lame. That really sucks. Because at the rate I think in a way, obviously there's positive parts because it encourages people to work harder. It encourages people to gain more discipline and responsibilities as they're growing and maturing, like in the phase that they should be growing and maturing, which is when they're young adults. But at the same time, because of the way the education system works, like not everyone is ready at that age. Some people like just aren't, like they're like, maybe you're just 1 year behind. Maybe you're just like, if you had like a few more months, you'd be able to understand the courses a bit better, and then you'd be able to apply them harder. But then it doesn't work like that because you're barred by the time constraints of university. So then you're thrown into, after your undergrad, you're thrown into a system where you need all this experience and stuff, and you're just not ready yet. Like it's so funny. I saw this meme where it's like, to get this job, you need work experience, but I'm trying to get this job to get work experience. Like it's just this never-ending loop of, I need work experience to get a job, but I need this job for work experience. I mean, it's not totally flawed. Like I had a hot take on the education system, but at the same time, it's like the money is a small investment for like if you pay $60K for your tuition, $60K is like the minimum, is like the smallest salary for like some computer engineers. Like Like, man, it's a small investment, but it's still, I think, an unnecessary investment that we're forced to make. That some people, not just they don't want to make, but they can't make because they're not in like privileged situations like a lot of us to, just be able to pay off our loans like that. And it really sucks because, eventually it could go down a path where like 75% of the world is in poverty and that there's only like 25%. Or it could go the other way. This could be a really good path. We'll never actually know until it happens. But it's like even that whole thought of in the future they're gonna need even more, like things to check off on their checklist before they can like get a job. Like that could actually be the opposite. Maybe they'll need even less. Maybe in the future someone will, make a change in the education system, and then the degree is no longer the bare minimum for a job. Maybe it'll change, but it is what it is, bro. I'm just here to play Maple Story and pop mollies. By mollies, I mean Jameson vitamin C tablets. Thank you for sponsoring this episode of Friendly Banter, episode 3.
Dude, you're gonna get me canceled, dude. What if Jameson sues me?
Yeah, here's a hot question because I have to leave soon.
Sure.
Yeah, I just completely forgot my question, bro. I read the Twitch chat and I'm like, what was my question? Go on. Unfortunately, I have to leave soon because my sister is in the phase of trying to move out. She doesn't live with us. She's trying to move into a bigger house to expand the family so I can get more nephews and nieces. Love it. And they just need me to help clean up so they can get like someone to come in and check out their house, see if they want to buy it. So thanks Jenny. Thanks for adjusting the time that we could talk. I hate gosh, man, I hate my sister. I mean, I hate that I have to cut this short, man, but yeah.
No worries, we're already past the 1 hour and 10-minute mark.
Dude, I was hoping for like a 24-hour challenge, 24-hour podcast challenge. Like, but this is what it is. Yeah. Any other questions, bro?
No, I think we're good.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a man of the people. I'm reading Twitch chat. University admissions to Heather Tiane already canceled. Thank you for joining the stream. Yeah, I think it's so weird that we have to pay to apply to university. Like it's only $50. And like I'm a young adult. I have an income. Well, I guess right now my income is a government check. But like man, it's so bizarre that you have to pay money to apply to school. Like
I think what she means is that like you have to do so many things for university admissions.
Yeah. I mean that too. Like why can't they just look at your marks, man? But it's also just like, why are you paying to apply to university? I don't pay to apply to jobs. Like what? No. They think I have money, man. I'm trying to get this job so I can get money. So then I can pay to apply to this job. Like, it doesn't make sense. But it is what it is. Our society isn't perfect.
Yeah. I think it's super weird that, well, that's not super weird. I think it's so doomed. Or if it keeps going on, where like marks from schools are always just inflated super high because the universities only take like high averages, and then with like 4 different extracurriculars, and you have to be like part of like you have to be part of like I don't know, part of a.
You have to be part of like a cult first, and then you need to be able to have your G to apply to university. I have to finish both grade 12 and a leap year because they don't believe you actually graduated high school. So you have to take a graduation class of high school. Then you have to experience like a pre-level of university before actual university to see if you're ready. You have to take a couple of cooking classes to see that you can survive on your own. You have to have living experience without your parents. You need to be able to survive on a deserted island for a week by yourself before you go to university, just in case something happens. You should also probably attest a couple of riots just to be relevant with society. They need to check your internet browsing history just to make sure that you are checking on their website, on the news, on a lot of things. It's ridiculous. There's so many requirements. Just let me get into school, man. I'm already suffering. Please, just end it all, please. I'm not kidding, man. I'm not.
Stop.
Like, I'm serious. Like, please, quarantine. Don't ever stop. Just COVID, come to my house. Just to me. Let me just breathe it in.
All right, thank you for listening to the third ever podcast of Friendly Banter. I'd like to thank the guest, Jonathan, for a great show today. Had a lot of fun with you, bro. And thank you for listening.
Is this like the hot ones where I get like my those cameras? Right. I get to say what I.
It's just this camera, just this one.
Just this camera.
Tell the world what you have going on in your life.
Wait, did I go?
Yeah, go.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, man. I've actually been so excited when you asked me to be on your podcast. So honored. I was like, wow, Ginny has so many friends. If you guys don't know Ginny has so many friends. Like, it's unreal. True. Like, sometimes Ginny's like, hey man, you want to play a video game with me? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Let's play some video games. And then, like, while we're playing video games, all I hear are Facebook messages. And I'm like, who's that? He's like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, bro. Like, and his voice is so hypnotic. He comforts me, man, and he's such a great dude. I was honestly really excited to be on the podcast. I watched all the other episodes. Yeah, dude, I really hope you can have me again, and we can talk about some more silly things. There are some other questions that I want to talk about, but to respect the time frame, we'll hold off on those questions, maybe for a future date.
Sure.
But yeah.
Sounds good. Thanks for
coming
on.
Me.
And thank you for listening.
I just want to say one more time, thank you so much, Jameson, for sponsoring us. I really do pop your mollies, vitamin C tablets. You keep me healthy, keep me alive. I've been taking these, 3 to 4 times regularly, on the daily, on the double. Pop a molly. I'm a drug dealer. I'm a drug abuser.
Don't say that.
By drug, I mean pharmaceutical vitamins, not actual drugs like actual mollies. I just like to pretend they're mollies because they're really sour and it makes me feel cool when I say pop the molly and I pop a tablet in my mouth. But thank you so much for sponsoring us. All the proceeds will be going to COVID relief and Black Lives Matter movement and other related donation systems to George Floyd. Rest in peace. Black Lives Matter too.
Stop! You're actually gonna get me cancelled.
Black Lives Matter, especially because of the tragic events of George Floyd. If you don't know, please go onto Google.com, Google.ca, whatever Google you use, even if you have to use Bing.com. Please go and search up George Floyd on what happened and see that there is true racial discrimination in our judicial system and just in our world and society. And I really hope that we can strive to be a united people. Anyways, thank you so much, Jameson, for sponsoring this episode of Friendly Banter. That's it from us. Thanks, guys, for watching. Have a great night. Cut.
Bye.